Good morning to our nephews and nieces around the world. This is your Uncle Andy speaking. Today I want to ask you a question. Can we end corruption in Africa? Is it possible to end corruption in Africa? So allow me to tell you a story that might help us to figure out the answer to our question. A few years ago, I went to Dubai and I decided to use Airbnb services. And my host was a lovely Filipino lady called Amor. I'll never forget her. She was really kind and really nice. And in typical Filipino hospitality, she made me breakfast when I arrived, and part of the breakfast was some eggs that had been prepared sunny side up. If you know what that means, it's eggs that are barely cooked. They just are all runny and all that. And I don't know where you come from, but in Africa, we eat our food well done, whether they're eggs or meat or whatever it is. So it was quite a balance. It was quite a challenge for me because I didn't want to offend her. So I took one for the team, man. I ate the eggs. And I'll never forget them. So what does this have to do with corruption in Africa? When we were discussing with her about our countries and all, I told her I was very happy for them as a country and very proud of their president, Mr. Rodrigo Duterte. She was really surprised that someone from Africa knew anything about her country, let alone her president, and what he was doing. So if you don't know about this Duterte guy, his only campaign promise was to eliminate drug dealing and drug trafficking in the Philippines. That was it. He didn't have like a long list of, 40-point plan or what. No, he just said that he'd eliminate drug trafficking and drug dealing. So Mr. Duterte has dealt ruthlessly with drug traffickers and drug users in the Philippines. And of course, there are many questions that have been asked about human rights and all that. And I can assure you that if I was a drug dealer right now, Philippines is the last place on earth that I would attempt to set up shop in. I can tell you that for free. So actually, she gave me this. I don't know if you can see this wristband. Yeah, so as you may well know, corruption is a very big problem in Africa. And in my view, for Africa to progress, the number one issue that we have to deal with ruthlessly is corruption. That is my humble submission. That in order for the continent to progress, we must first deal ruthlessly with corruption. But do we have the kind of leaders who will do that in Africa? I don't know. Yeah? Corruption has a very big impact on our lives. And when I talk about corruption, I'm not talking about these small bribes that people give policemen and all that. No. I'm talking about the people who loot public coffers. This is not even mismanagement of public funds. This is outright theft of public funds. These are the people I'm talking about. So do we have the leaders in Africa who are willing to act decisively to end corruption on the continent? I don't know. By the way, I don't know. Do you have corruption in your country? Please tell us in the comment section where you're listening to us from. and whether you have corruption there. And if not, how did you eliminate corruption in your country? We'd very much want to know. Yeah. So why should we fight corruption? Yeah, why should we fight corruption? The cost of corruption is very high, especially when you think about things like healthcare, things like infrastructure, education. Right now we are going through the coronavirus pandemic, and most African leaders, after looting their own healthcare budgets, seek medical attention themselves in developed countries, in Europe, in the UK. Look at that building. Really beautiful. Really, really beautiful. Yeah? But right now, due to the coronavirus pandemic, they cannot travel to Europe. They have to seek health care right in our country, in the same hospitals they've neglected over the years. So right now, they cannot seek medical care in other countries, in developed countries. They have to go to our national hospitals, like the one I'm looking at right to my left here, which is the National Referral Hospital. So other than healthcare, one of the other major things that suffers due to corruption in Africa is infrastructure. Yeah? People need good roads to be able to get their produce to the marketplace. So I'm sorry if this video today is depressing, but that's the state of affairs, man. That's the sad state of affairs. And if you ask me, even though no one is asking me, we need a very interesting vehicle. We need the death penalty for people who steal public funds. We need public executions. The punishment has to be so severe for stealing public funds that that when you weigh the risk, you'll think twice before doing it. You'll think twice. So I'm driving through what is supposed to be an upmarket neighborhood, and I just want to show you the state of some of the roads here. So look at the state of this road. This is supposed to be an upmarket area. The rents here on average are over $1,000, which is quite an amount for Africa, as you would imagine. Yeah. Imagine the amount of money that the country wastes on spare parts that have to be bought all the time to repair cars here. So yeah, let us know how you think we can end corruption in Africa. But otherwise, have a good time, like, subscribe, share, all the good stuff. And we'll talk again soon. Cheers, man. Bye-bye.